Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and while we're on the topic of injury prevention and things, I really like to cover this for a lot of my older subscribers and even younger subscribers who maybe want to be at my age and not have many injuries. I don't have pain in things like my knees, my shoulders, my elbows, and there's a reason for that. I've spent many years studying the biomechanics behind this stuff, and I know how to avoid inflammation of connective tissue, joints, things like that. And in this case, the leading cause that I find of elbow pain among most people who lift weights is not their heavy lockouts, it's the way that they perform their tricep isolation exercises. And if you're like most of us, like me for example, I don't have particularly great arm genetics. So for me, I have to do arm isolation movements. It's not really an option for me. I can't get that big of arms doing heavy close grip presses and weighted dips all day, unfortunately. So if you're like me, you have to do these things. And the way to avoid these with pain, the first thing you'll notice there is that I'm going behind my head on all the Skullcrushers, and that's a very important thing to consider there, because what ends up happening when you don't bring it all the way up behind the head and you just bring it to the face, you're putting a lot of tension on the actual connective tissue. The tendons that insert into the elbow from the medial and lateral heads of the tricep actually get a lot of inflammation and stress on the connective tissue as a result of only bringing it part of the way up and then keeping most of that load directly on those tendons when you're fully extended. And so by bringing it further behind your head, you take that stress off those tendons, and it puts a little more of that stress near the bottom when it's stretched down on the long head of the tricep, which oftentimes gets underworked and it's not as prone to inflammation of the connective tissue. So that's a really, really big deal, is to keep that inflammation off those tendons so that your elbows don't hurt. Now, the other thing you'll note when I'm doing this exercise from the front view there, you'll notice I have a false grip on it, a suicide grip, and that is so I have more free rotation of my elbows because my arm can move a little more. That allows me to get away with a straight bar, and with a straight bar you can use a lot more weight. It just becomes really awkward to get a really heavy loaded easy curl bar into position. Oftentimes you can't always use a rack or anything, and then so you're forced to kind of clean it up, sit down. I just find this is easier to work with, and so by using the straight bar, it's just a lot easier and more convenient to set up. But the thing is, you do need to allow some more free rotation of the shoulders and wrists and everything by doing that. So the suicide grip will let you do that. So you can use that false grip so that your arms can twist a little more. And the thing you'll notice is that when I'm at the bottom, I'm flared out a little bit. I let it flare, unlike a lot of people who keep the elbows tucked in tight. And the thing is, a lot of people try to feel like, well, they feel it more in their triceps. They keep the elbows in. You're not feeling it more in the triceps. The reason it hurts more is that you're feeling it in the connective tissue near the elbow. And so again, by letting it flare a little bit, you can get a deeper stretch on it, again, a little more long head, and then most of the lockout of it, when you're getting up near the top, your elbows are coming back in a little more, you're getting a lot more of the lateral and medial head. And so not only do you end up with less pain overall, but you also get more well-rounded tricep development by getting the head that seems to lag the most. Because the thing is, people need to remember the medial and long head are used very, very heavily in all of your pressing. They get most of the work. So your isolation movements need to balance that back out just a little bit sometimes, just for overall thicker triceps. And again, if you're not genetically blessed in the arm department like me, you need every little bit of help that you can get. And so by doing them these ways, not only can you end up with a better overall development, but the most important point is that you're going to stop that elbow pain from happening by getting that connective tissue inflammation, or getting kind of that, what they call that tennis elbow, from doing your tricep extensions. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.